Now, guys, the Sweet 16 does start on Friday. The games are Friday and Saturday for the Sweet 16. I hope you all are excited about that. If y'all are going to a Sweet 16 game, let me know. I would love to hear about it. So yeah, if you're going to the Sweet 16, yeah, let me know. If you're going to the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight, let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Hopefully next year I'll be able to go. It just didn't work out this year for me to go, but next year, fingers crossed. Anyway, let's I got my blank bracket, and we are going to go through. We are going to go through the second chance. This again, the second chance challenge by ESPN. All right, and I have for UCLA versus Ole Miss. Ole Miss is going to come out as hard as they can with some really good defense. They're going to give it all that they have. However, UCLA has Lauren Betts, and Kiki Rice is doing her thing right now. So I'm gonna say UCLA is gonna win that game. We have LSU versus NC State. We all remember that LSU beat NC State earlier this year. Yes, there's an opportunity for NC State to get some revenge. However, I just do think that LSU is going to actually pull off that W, and they're gonna beat NC State for the second time this year. All right, let's continue on. We have USC versus Kansas State. Ultimately, the injury to Juju Watkins, I think, completely changes everything. Right? I think it really does. However, I do think that USC, even without Juju, has just enough to take down TCU. I do. I think they have just enough. So yes, I do have USC barely beating Kansas State. I think we are going to see Kiki Ira-Offin have another 30-plus game. I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see Kennedy Smith have a really good game. Kylie Heckel have a really good game as well. Like, this is Avery Howe. Like, this is going to be a game where everybody has to step up, and I think they will. And I think ultimately they do take down Kansas State. And we have Oklahoma versus UConn. This is going to be a cool battle. I'm really interested to see the battle between Reagan Beers and UConn. Like, I think that's going to be pretty fun. Like, Reagan Beers and Sarah Strong, I think going to go pound for pound. Like, what's going to happen? Like, I think it's going to be fun to watch. However, UConn just has way more offensive firepower, especially from the guards perspective, that to me is going to be the difference. And UConn is going to win that game. On the other side of the table, we have Texas versus Tennessee. In that game, ultimately, so Texas, I think, is the better team. I think Tennessee is probably going to wind up winning because of the way that they like to muck it up on defense. They're going to do that full court pressure. They are going to give it all that they have, and ultimately, I do think that that Tennessee is going to get the dub. Now, Texas, Madison Booker is gonna cook, right? We're gonna see Mimwatanda, who has been impressing me a lot this year. She's gonna be doing her thing, right? We're gonna see a lot of players that are gonna be rocking out for Texas. However, I do think that Tennessee's ability to just light it up from the three point line, especially because Texas is not a 3-point team. Texas is not going to make a lot of threes. And if Tennessee can get those threes to fall, yeah, I think this is Tennessee's game. It's the defense plus the 3-point shooting of Tennessee that ultimately I think is going to be the downfall of Texas. Though, pound for pound, yes, Texas is a better squad. However, I think that it's going to be Tennessee's night, and Tennessee is going to win. All right, Notre Dame versus TCU, I think it's going to be a fun game. One, because this is Notre Dame's chance to get some redemption. They did lose to TCU earlier this year. Y'all remember I believe it was in November when all the teams were going on there. They were like going to different places and playing like the tournament style stuff. Notre Dame lost 2 games in a row, and one of those games were lost to TCU. TCU is a good squad, right? Sedona Prince is great. Donovan Hunter is great. Haley Van Lith is great. However, I don't think they get past Notre Dame, especially the way Leah Two King has played. Leah Two King in the second round of what I believe is the second round, where she was absolutely perfect from the field, perfect from the free throw line. She was on fire. She was looking for the basketball. She was being active, and with a offensive-minded Leah King, with a Sonia Citron who is continuing to do her thing, with a Hannah Hidalgo who just puts up numbers, and with a Olivia Miles who yes is still not completely healed from her ankle injury, but can still rock out there and do some stuff. I have Notre Dame beating TCU. And I think Notre Dame just has a little bit too much to compare with TCU. Now, if Leah King don't show up to play, if she wants to be passive and whatnot, then yeah, they don't have a chance. But if Leah King plays the same way she played in the second round of the tournament, we are seeing Pitt version of Leah King, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it. All right, we have North Carolina versus Duke, and in that game, I ultimately have Duke winning that one. I think it's just the defense that Duke has, and their ability to shoot threes. I think it'll lead them to victory. And then we have South Carolina versus Maryland. I don't think Maryland really has a chance. I think South Carolina wins this game with a sizable margin. I think it's probably like a 10+ game that South Carolina wins. All right, and then we have South Carolina versus Duke in the Elite Eight. Ultimately, South Carolina. There's a little bit too much for Duke to handle. And yeah, I don't see them beating Duke. All right, Tennessee versus Notre Dame. I have Notre Dame. The reason why is, yes, Tennessee is a team that can knock down threes. Tennessee is a team that can play some defense, but also Notre Dame is a team that can knock down some threes, and they're a team that can play some defense. And I think player for player, Notre Dame. And I think Notre Dame will actually show up. So yeah, I have Notre Dame winning that game. All right, we have USC versus UConn. Now, here is when the absence of Juju Watkins hurts you even further. I cannot see USC getting past UConn without Juju Watkins. Now, before Juju Watkins went down, I said, before Juju went down, I said that UConn would beat USC. And I still believe that UConn will beat USC. And it may be an even bigger margin than it would have been. Because again, UConn, they got a little bit of everything. They got Paige, they got AZ, right? You got Sarah Strong in the post. You got KK who can play some really good defense. Like you have a lot of players on this UConn squad that can make some noise. But for USC, you got Kiki Ira-Finn, you got the freshies and Kylie and Avery, right? But I don't think USC has enough. So it's going to be a game that's probably like 15 points or more win by UConn, in my opinion. And then we have UCLA versus LSU. This is where LSU's time to shine goes to a close. I don't see LSU beating UCLA, primarily because of Lauren Betts. With Lauren Betts down low, I don't think Anissa is able to eat as much as she does. I think she's gonna struggle big time against a big player like a Lauren Betts. And Lauren Betts is just, if UCLA decides, yes, we are going to give the ball to Lauren Betts every single time, then I think it's over. The way that UCLA can lose is if Lauren Betts gets into foul trouble and or UCLA decides that they guards gonna be the stars and they don't pass it to Lauren Betts basically every single time. I think you have to give the ball to Lauren Betts almost every single possession. Give her the basketball almost every single possession and have her play inside outside basketball. I think that's gonna win you the game if you're UCLA. If you are LSU, you are doing everything you can to get Lauren Betts in foul trouble. That means you are giving her Aaliyah Del Rosario. You are giving her Samaya Smith. You're giving her lots of different looks. You're telling your post players, "Hey, flop, make some stuff happen," right? Like, kind of just kind of make it seem like you getting pushed around. If you can get her in foul trouble, I think LSU has a good chance to win this game. If Lauren Betts is not in foul trouble, I don't I don't see it. I don't see it at all. Like, if you can get Lauren Betts in foul trouble and allow this team to have Lauren Betts on the bench, yeah, LSU has a really good chance. But if oh, sorry about that. Yeah, thank you, Tiffy and Co. Kaylee. Um, um, if we can see this, LSU team play through, Flau'jae, play through Michaela Williams, and when Lauren Betts is on the bench, play through Anissa Morrow, I think that can happen. But you have to get Lauren Betts in foul trouble. I think she has to be. She has to be in foul trouble. My point in her is just that it's just a big body. If you could just get her a couple minutes, it's just a big body. Now, yes, Aaliyah Del Rosario can't really go pound for pound with Lauren Betts, but she can be there and she can, like, a couple minutes in, have to say, hey, go in this game and put a body on a body, and if you can, exaggerate a little bit. Try to get something. But ultimately, I think UCLA will win. But we'll see. We will see. Ultimately, we'll have in the Final Four UCLA versus UConn, and we'll also have South Carolina versus Notre Dame. In this game, I have UConn beating UCLA because, yes, Lauren Betts is great. However, UConn just has a little bit more. And South Carolina versus Notre Dame, ultimately South Carolina wins that game, and UConn winning the whole thing. This is the same Final Four that I had before the tournament started, and this is the same Final Four I'm sticking with because I just still think that these are the four best teams when it all comes down to it. And we'll ultimately see if I'm right or wrong. Now, what do y'all think? Let me know in the comments below. Ultimately, how many points do I think this game is going to be scored by? I don't know. I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be a kind of a lowish scoring game. So I'm gonna say 178. All right, so that's who I got. That is who I have. UConn ultimately winning it. But yeah, what do y'all think? Let me know in the comments below how it all ends tonight. Y'all saw the title of the stream. I called it that because for 4 programs, it is ending tonight. It is ending tonight, guys. The season has reached tournament time. Yes, we've had teams exit already, right? We first started off with 68 teams, then we went to 64, then we went to 32. Now we are at 16, and before today and tomorrow are over, we are going to go to 8. This is where it gets down to the nitty-gritty, where we will not see crazy blowouts anymore. The days of the blowouts are over, I think, I hope. And now we're going to see nitty-gritty, down to the wire, games being decided by less than 5 points. We already saw some big games already. Probably the game of the tournament so far was Maryland versus Alabama in the second round. Like, that game was crazy, double overtime, like crazy game. But expect to see that a whole lot more, and expect for teams to give it literally all that they have, because it truly does end tonight. All right, let's actually talk about what we will see first up today. So again, we are in the Sweet 16, and we do have a couple of games that are happening today. First game starts at 1:30 p.m. and this is Central Time, so 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We will see North Carolina versus Duke. Now, this is going to be a fantastic game. I'm excited to ultimately see what happens. I do think ultimately Duke is going to pull out the dub, but this game is going to be absolutely fire. And I like that it's sort of like a stair step of sorts of impactful games, and it just keeps going up. So number one, first, North Carolina versus Duke. It's going to be a fun game. I do think Duke ultimately will take the dub, but we'll see what happens. We also will have number 4 versus number 1, Maryland versus South Carolina. That game is tipping off at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's about the time where a lot of people are getting off of work and all that good stuff. So yeah, expect to watch a game at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I do anticipate South Carolina is going to win this game. However, Maryland dug deep in their game against Alabama, and I'm just wondering, okay, well, is Cheyenne Sellers going to, absolutely take over like she did in that Bama game? I'm just saying, if that's the case, that could be pretty interesting. That could be pretty interesting. We also have LSU versus NC State. That game is a rematch from earlier this year where LSU beat NC State. So we'll ultimately see what LSU is able to do. That game is at 7:30 Eastern time. 7:30 Eastern time, 6:30 Central time. That's going to be a fun game. Ultimately, I do think LSU is going to pull off that dub, mainly because of the three amigos and Flau'jae Johnson, Michaela Williams, and Anissa Mora. I think they're just going to be a little bit too much for NC State to handle. But NC State has the three amigos of their own. They got their own squad of hoopers that are going to try to, technically it's not an upset because the Wolfpack are at the number 2 seed while LSU is the number 3 seed. But this team is a team that they got Madison Hayes, right? They got Isaiah James, and they have Sanaya Rivers. All three seniors who are ready to just put it all out on the line. Whatever they can do to get this dub, they will absolutely do. And Wes Moore is a really good coach, so I'm excited to see the chess match between Wes Moore and Kim Mulkey in that game. All right, and then finally, to close out the day, we have at 10 p.m. Eastern time, super late. Not as late for me because I'm Central, so 9 p.m. Central time. We have Ole Miss versus UCLA. The reason why it's so late is because it's on the West Coast, so those games are in Spokane. So LSU versus NC State and Ole Miss versus UCLA. Those games are in Spokane, and the other two games earlier in the day are in Birmingham. So that's the difference in terms of timing of these games. Ultimately, I do think UCLA is going to beat Ole Miss, but I do think that Ole Miss is about to they about to make UCLA work for it all. They about to make them work for every single thing that they got. But hey, who knows? Anybody and everybody can get got. Who knows? UCLA could lose. South Carolina could lose. Duke could lose. We don't know. But my projections are my projections. I want to see what you all think about these games because it's about to be a fun ride. Now, guys, unfortunately, I cannot go live for the North Carolina versus Duke or Maryland versus South Carolina, but I can and will go live for LSU versus NC State. The reason why, and for those who are going to be like, you hate South Carolina because you're not going to go live for that game. I can't go live because I'm working at that time. So I cannot go live. Okay? I will stay up to date about what's happening, but I can't go live for that because I am working. So, no, there is no hate for South Carolina or Maryland or Duke or North Carolina. The reason why I will be doing a live stream for LSU versus NC State is because I am off of work. Okay? Not everything is a conspiracy. I'm just saying. I am just saying. And I would go live for UCLA versus Ole Miss, but unfortunately that game is just way too late. I'll be watching it, but I'll probably be half falling asleep while watching it. So I'm not gonna do a stream for that. Okay? Okay. Great. Thank you. All right, and then tomorrow we do have some great games to watch as well, as we will see Notre Dame versus TCU. And I do plan on going live for that game. That game is happening tomorrow on Saturday. That game is at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Central Time. So I'm excited about that game. I will be going live for that game. Okay. Also, we will see Tennessee versus Texas as well on Saturday. That should be fun. That game is at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We have Oklahoma versus UConn happening at 5:30. I keep wanting to say the Central Time thing, but I keep remembering I have to do Eastern Time for you guys. But all my times are in Central, so I have to mentally just add an hour to that. Anyway, we will see Oklahoma versus UConn at 5:30 Eastern Time on Saturday. That's a game that I think I will go live for. TBD. Mainly because I have stuff I have to do on Saturday, so I gotta like time it right so I can like go get whatever I need to get done while also, hopping on for this type of stuff. So yeah, we'll see. And we also have K-State versus USC. That's gonna be a really fun game. That game is at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. Okay, so it should be fun. It should be fun. I'm curious to hear what you all have to say. We're gonna get your projections and predictions for about 2 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next topic, mainly because I'm trying to not run out of time. All right, let's go. What do y'all have to say? GFB says like the stream. If y'all could, yes, please. Please hit that like button. It really does help the channel out a whole lot. Thank you very much in advance. And also make sure to share this with folks. That really does help out a lot. Quentin says, I want to see more collabs with Mom and Pop. They will be back more for the WNBA season. For sure. Michael is saying, go SEC till it's against LSU. You better make it known. You better make it known, Michael, that hey, you rocking with the SEC until they play your team, and then it's all bets are off. It's all LSU from there. I love it. All right. Tisha says, I hope Ole Miss is well adjusted to the time. I want them to be a huge upset. I mean, I'm telling you, if they pull off an upset, OMG, man. I guarantee number one, Coach Yo is going to get some banger of transfers. I'm telling you that right now. She's going to get some great transfers already coming in for next season. But if they beat UCLA, you better watch out for Ole Miss, because they about to be an even bigger player in the transfer portal. Players want to go where, one, they can get NIL money, and also where they can be developed, also where they think they can make it far in the tournament. And if Ole Miss can make it to the Elite Eight this year, I think that'll be huge. I think that's just one other thing to get Ole Miss on the map for sure. Stern12, thank you so much for the super chat, says, but no Stephen A. Smith LeBron take. Please no, LOL. Nah, we're not doing it. I do have a take on that, but I'm not sharing it. Okay, I'm not sharing, mainly because, like, to be honest with you, this whole thing, like, it's a marketing ploy. I think that whole thing is a marketing ploy. Okay, it's all, in my opinion, done on purpose. Sure, are there actual feelings involved? Sure, but like, no. Stephen A. is smart. He knows what to talk about to get his numbers up. Have y'all seen his ratings, the numbers for his YouTube show? And First Take has always been at the top. I'm just saying, all of this is a marketing ploy, and the fact that LeBron went on Pat McAfee, and like, I'm serious, guys. This is it's all marketing, okay? And ESPN's in on it, the whole thing, okay? I'm just saying, because why would he go to Pat McAfee? That is on ESPN, and I'm just saying, it's a whole thing. Anyway, I'm not gonna go into that. I'm just anyway. Let's move on. Let's move on. But I have a whole bunch of takes on that. A whole bunch of takes because interesting times. But marketing is everything, man. And the best marketing is when you don't actually believe it's marketing. I'm telling you guys, because that's, I mean, if I am advising them, that's what I would be advising. Controversy does sell. Okay, Tina is asking, what time do the games start today? Well, I just went over that, but just real quick, let's just go through it real quick. We got North Carolina versus Duke happening at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. We got Maryland versus South Carolina at 5 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. We got LSU versus NC State at 7:30 Eastern time. That is on ESPN. And we have Ole Miss versus UCLA at 10 p.m. Eastern time. Okay? On ESPN. All right? Okay, so that is the thing. It all ends tonight. Somebody is going home. Very, very sad, but should be proud about how far they made it ultimately, because there can only be one. So whether or not you are leaving today, Whether or not you're leaving on Monday, doesn't matter. You're still going home. Somebody has to go home because there can only be one at the end of the day. Okay? Okay.